Summary: The Comfort Book, Matt Haig. Book link click here. Penguins are flightless seabirds that live almost exclusively in the southern hemisphere. 17 penguin species vary significantly in size. The smallest is the little penguin, standing around 13 inches tall, while the largest is the emperor penguin at 4 feet tall. Penguins mate for life and work together to raise their young. The male and female take turns incubating the egg and feeding the chick. Penguins primarily eat krill, fish, squid, and crustaceans. Different species have different preferences and hunting styles. Most penguin species live and breed in large colonies on the Antarctic continent or on subantarctic islands. Some species live as far north as the Galapagos Islands. The penguin life cycle revolves around breeding, molting, and feeding. Breeding season is usually in the spring and summer. Molting is when penguins shed old feathers and grow new ones. Feeding occurs year-round as penguins need to consume a lot of food. Threats to penguins include habitat destruction, pollution, fishing practices that deplete food sources, and climate change. Some species have seen significant population declines. Interesting facts: penguins mate for life. They don't fly but they swim very well. They are found only in the southern hemisphere. That covers penguin life's key highlights, including diet, habitat, breeding, threats, and some interesting facts about these charismatic seabirds. Let me know if you want me to elaborate on any summary part. The author recalls a strategy of walking through the forest in a straight line to get clear of the trees when lost. This metaphor applies to navigating challenging life circumstances and mental health issues. Keep putting one foot in front of the other and continue moving forward. It's okay to be imperfect, broken, messy, sentimental, and like what you like. You don't have to always reach out to others or spread yourself thin. It's okay to allow yourself to be reached and accept who you are. Our perspective shapes our experience of the world. While distressing circumstances are neutral, our view of them causes pain. We have the power to change our mood at any time. Though not always easy, adjusting our mindset can help us cope. Nothing is inherently good or bad. Our thinking makes it so. External events themselves are neutral until we assign meaning to them. We can view the same thing in many ways. Our mind both makes prisons and gives us keys. Change is constant. Over time, our brains and selves change. When facing hard times, remember that difficulties will pass and better circumstances will come. We become new versions of ourselves. Staying alive means living for the people we will become. Forgiving yourself makes the world better. You don't become good by thinking you're wrong. Hope can be found anywhere, especially in art and stories. It often emerges subtly but powerfully, lifting us over challenges the way music can leap octaves. We can feel hope even in hard times by realizing things will change and the future is uncertain in a way that allows light. A list of songs that comfort the author, ranging from Over the Rainbow to True Faith to If You Leave to Pieces from the Nutcracker. Music provides a unique comfort. To overcome a problem, look at it directly. Don't pretend it isn't there. Viewing challenges is how we start to climb over them. When feeling low, remember that depressing thoughts are not objective facts. They will pass. Time disproves the lies depression tells and provides perspective. Keep moving forward. The valley never has the most transparent view. We are always more significant than the pain we feel. The pain is not the totality of who we are. The I remains even when in pain. The subject in the sentence is the I. The I exists even without the pain, while the pain only exists as a product of that I. The I will survive and go on to feel other things. The author used to think she was the pain itself, rather than experiencing depression. She thought depression defined who she was. But she realized she was mistaking the feeling for the vessel containing the surface. She is the vessel that can hold any sense. It's essential to realize our vastness and possibility. We are more than our feelings or achievements. We are the infinite space that remains when you subtract them. During bad times, remember, the feelings won't last. You have felt other things and will feel other things again. Emotions are like the weather, constantly changing. The worst part of an experience is when you feel like you can't take it anymore. If you've reached that point, the only feelings left are better ones. You are still here. That is everything. At rock bottom, remember, you have survived everything so far and will survive this. Stay for the person you will become. You are more than a bad day, week, month, or decade. There is a future self looking back with gratitude that you held on. Stay. The best part of rock bottom is discovering the solid, unbreakable part of you. You can build yourself anew from there. 10 books that help the author's mind. Letters to a Young Poet. Poems by Emily Dickinson. Henry David Thoreau's Journal. When Things Fall Apart. The House at Pooh Corner. Bird by bird, meditations, Tao Te Ching, serious concerns, dream work. Words can never fully capture our inner experiences, but that is their use. They can help externalize internal things. Speaking about depression helped the author reconnect with the world. The power of why, asking why about your desires and digging deeper with honesty can help you gain insight into their root causes and diminish their power over you. The key points are, writing helps gain insight into one's insecurities and address their root causes. It can help clarify doubts and dreams. When we lose things in life, we gain an appreciation for what remains. We focus more on the essential things we still have. We should avoid certain unhealthy attitudes and behaviors, like envying unrealistic things, caring too much about what unqualified critics say, fearing missing out on things we don't enjoy, etc. Other people matter, but we must be authentic to find genuine connections. Even delicate-seeming things, like the purple saxifrage flower, can show resilience in the harshest conditions by banding together. Relationships give us strength. Doing small things to make others happy, like cooking a simple meal together, can be therapeutic and help cultivate connections. Hummus is given as an example. There are always paths forward, even in difficult times. Hope comes from accepting the unknown and believing in the possibility of better things. We need a plan and determination. The best things in life, nature, music, relationships, exist independent of societal measures of success like attractiveness, wealth, or fame. We should appreciate them. A little plan for living well, be curious, spend time outside, prioritize sleep, stay hydrated, breathe properly, eat healthily, establish a routine, be kind, accept that you can't please everyone, define yourself, allow mistakes, appreciate what you have, learn to say no. Life is not meant to be treated like a ladder to climb or a problem to solve. It is intended to be lived in the present moment. We should accept life as it is. We can start fresh by forgiving ourselves for past mistakes and failures, letting go of old stories, and writing our new chapter. Learning to say no allows us to maintain healthy boundaries and sanity. We shouldn't feel bad about it. We should aim to be humble, as we are human, and noble, as we are capable of great things. Escaping life's mazes requires trying new paths, learning from dead ends, and persevering. Every setback provides valuable information to get us closer to the exit. Knowledge is power. To overcome difficulties and survive threats, we need to understand them. Julianne Koepke survived 11 days alone in the Amazon rainforest after a plane crash because she knew the dangers and how to find necessities like food, water, and shelter. Our minds can be misleading. Many factors shape our perceptions, and we only sometimes see the whole objective truth. It's essential to recognize the limitations and biases of our thinking. Feeling like you don't belong is paradoxically ordinary and universal. Many people struggle with feeling like outsiders or imposters, even though it's a feeling shared by many. Important decisions should be timely. When at a crossroads, it's best to slow down, evaluate your options carefully, and ensure you're heading in the right direction. Movement is only progress if you're going the right way. Happiness comes from accepting yourself and forgetting social expectations. It's an accident that results from self-love and being your authentic self. Experience at least one petite beauty each day. Make time to appreciate small moments, wonders, and pleasures, even when complicated. It helps remind you of the good in the world and yourself. Hard times lead to growth. Difficult experiences expand us and help us evolve. Though painful, they create space we can fill with life and meaning. Your existence is the result of randomness and near impossibility. The odds of any one individual coming into being are infinitesimally small. Yet here we are. That improbability and uncertainty is a source of hope. The future is unwritten. Your worth isn't defined by what you do or achieve. You have intrinsic value simply through your existence. You don't need to constantly work or improve yourself to earn your worth or value. You merely need to be. Life is short. Be kind. You will need 2 slices of bread, a jar of peanut butter. Method: place the slices of bread in a toaster. Wait a minute or two. Remove the toasted bread from the toaster and transfer it to a plate. With a knife, spread the peanut butter generously onto one side of the toast. Spread the peanut butter with a knife, constantly traveling in the same direction over the toast. Don't rush it. Set the mood of appreciation by moving the knife at a steady Tai Chi pace. This moment should have the integrity of a religious ritual. Take the plate of toast to your favorite seat. Sit. Compose yourself. Be fully aware of how wondrous it is to be sentient. Be aware you are not only alive as a human being, but as a human being about to eat some peanut butter on toast. Close your eyes as you take the first bite. Let your worries float by, untethered from their hooks, as you appreciate this moment of taste and pleasure. If you don't like peanut butter, this ritual of gratitude and attentiveness has also been proven to work with marmalade. Part 2. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now, you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Bruce Lee. People talk a lot about flow. Work flow. Musical flow. Yoga flow. Life flow. Suppose stressed about something, we might be advised to go with the flow. What does this even mean? In Siddhartha, Hermann Hesse's novel about one man's spiritual discovery, he writes the river is everywhere. The story is indeed partly centered around a river. The central character, Siddhartha himself, aims to live near a river that inspires him spiritually. For me, the flow of life is about accepting things as part of something bigger and accepting every molecule of water as part of the river. This comforts me when I have moments of torment or suffering. Pain is selfish. It demands full attention. But each moment is part of a totality. Each moment is a brushstroke in a painting, let's say a picture of a river, which can be rather beautiful when we stand back. Let them flow. All those unspoken thoughts. All those suppressed emotions. All those unacknowledged difficulties. All those guilty secrets. All those painful memories. All those hidden corners. All those awkward truths. All those undressed wounds. All those uncomfortable ideas. All those latent longings and denied desires, all that water building behind the dam. Don't wait for that pressure to build. Don't wait to burst wide open. Let them flow. Let them flow. Let them flow. The man never steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. Heraclitus. Earth, water, fire, air. Everything connects. Everything in the universe relates to every other thing in the universe. Pain connects to pleasure through time. A pleasurable present evolves and links to the pain of grief, when it becomes a memory. But also, inside deep despair, the knowledge of better times, or even the knowledge of potential better times, can help get you through. Consider how every human body contains trace elements such as copper, zinc, and gold, amid the massive amounts of carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. Similarly, if we could analyze every negative experience we've ever had, we would find vast quantities of emotions such as fear and despair, and also trace elements of other things, joy, hope, love, happiness. And in the darkness even the tiniest fragments of light can shine, capture our attention and lead us home. I am enough. Tips for how to make a bad day better. Get up. Get washed. Get dressed. Stand up. Move your body. Put your phone in another room. Go for a walk. Stretch. Place your legs against the wall. Get some sunlight, if there is some available. Head, if you can, to somewhere green. A garden, a park, a field, a meadow, a forest. Breathe deeply and slowly and consciously for a little while. Phone someone you love. If there is a nagging thing you are expected to do, but don't want to do, cancel it now. Could you do it now? If you can, cook a good meal and concentrate on the process. Cooking is the best kind of active meditation. Avoid artificial blue light, especially after dark. Allow bad thoughts, because that way they pass through quicker. Watch some TV you like. Before you watch it, work out how long you want to care for it and stick to it. If it is a clear night, watch the stars as Marcus Aurelius did in times of turmoil nearly 2,000 years ago. Go to bed before midnight. Don't try too hard to get to sleep. Let your mind absorb the day, and let all those fears and frustrations flow through. The most meaningful kind of wealth. In 1981, American philosophy graduate Stephen Callahan found himself adrift in the Atlantic for 76 days. He had been sailing a sloop he had designed and built, the Napoleon Solo. He was 7 days into a voyage from Cornwall to Antigua. One night, during a storm, the boat was hit by a whale. The ship was quickly flooded and started to sink. Callahan escaped onto an inflatable life raft but managed to hold his breath and dive into his boat a few times to get essential supplies. These supplies included food, navigation charts, flares, a spear gun, and a sleeping bag. He was then set entirely adrift from the boat. He was 800 miles west of the Canary Islands but heading in the opposite direction. He had enough food and water to last him only a few days. He fished with a spear gun and made water with a solar still, a gadget that evaporates salt water, distills it, and then purifies it. It took him days to get it working correctly. There were many moments of dashed hope. For instance, on the 14th day he saw a ship, lit a flare, and thought he had been seen. But no such luck. He saw other ships, but again no one saw him, and soon he was south of the shipping lanes, heading into hotter and hotter weather. The discomfort was immense. The hunger. The thirst. The heat. The salt water sores on his skin. Mentally, according to his accounts, it was also challenging. Not just the continual threat of sharks, but his thoughts. I had a lot of time to think, and I regretted every mistake I'd ever made, he told the Guardian newspaper in 2012. I was divorced, and felt I had failed at human relations generally, at business and now even at sailing. I desperately wanted to get through it so I could make a better job of my life. 50 days in, and things were looking hopeless. He had spent over a week trying to keep the damaged raft afloat with a pump and had no more energy. He broke down. But he pulled himself together just enough to find a way to fix the raft temporarily. Then his contraption to purify his water broke. He knew, logically, he was going to die, as he had only 3 cans of water left. He felt his mind, as well as his body, shutting down. He had lost a third of his weight. He had nothing else to give. His use of flares and beacons had triggered no rescue attempt. I could feel all the people who had loved me and cared about me saying a final farewell. Stephen Callahan was lost at sea for 76 days after his sailboat sank. He survived on a life raft and was eventually rescued by fishermen. Although the experience was terrifying, Callahan didn't regret it. He gained more profound gratitude for life and learned to appreciate each moment free of suffering. He found beauty even amid the ordeal. Quotes about hope, courage, and perseverance: nothing is stronger than a small hope that doesn't give up. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Rainer Maria Rilke. One day this will be over. And we will be grateful for life in ways we never felt possible before. The gold saddle goatfish swim together in a tight formation that looks like a single large fish to deter predators. This exemplifies how vulnerable creatures can protect themselves by banding together. Humans can also find strength and unity during difficult times. It's okay to feel negative emotions. They are temporary and do not define you. You are the person experiencing the storm. The storm may knock you off your feet, but you will stand again. Hold on. Karl Heinrich Ulrichs was a pioneering activist for gay rights in 19th-century Germany. Despite facing stigma, legal trouble, and health issues, he never regretted being true to himself and advocating for change. His courage and perseverance in the face of adversity are deeply inspiring. It's easy to feel like you're missing out on the lives portrayed on social media. But the only life that truly matters is your own. Appreciate the life you have rather than coveting the lives of others. Mental health is not always a straightforward matter of being either ill or well. It's normal to experience ups and downs, and accepting this ambiguity can help avoid anxiety and self-fulfilling prophecies. One can learn to go with the flow through life's uncertainties with care and attention. A good sad nostalgia can remind you of life's warmth and your ability to experience deep feelings. Fear of death is natural, but like any fear, it is made worse by avoidance and uncertainty. Openly confronting fears can help alleviate their power over us. Life and death are two sides of the same coin. We can feel fear of both at the same time. The answer lies in living fully in the present moment. The mechanical shark in Jaws rarely worked during filming, but its absence made it scarier. Similarly, death is an uncomfortable subject, but it helps define and enhance life. The ending, like the silence after a song, is as important as what came before. We always live in the present, though some moments feel endless, like when depressed. The aim is to enjoy the gift without fretting, but that's hard for completists with infinite to-do lists. We must accept life's incompleteness and imperfection. Emails are insignificant. Living well, reading poetry, enjoying nature, and accepting uncertainty matters. Our worth isn't defined by accomplishments or appearance. Many things won't make us happier, like dwelling on the past, pleasing others, avoiding pain, or seeking control. Check that emotional armor isn't too heavy. Focus on living fully. Our worth is inherent. We are human beings, not human doings. Happiness comes from within, not from what we gain or achieve. Though life brings rain, we can choose to be happy. Each life contains moments of light, so save and recall happy times. The present is specific, and the future is uncertain, so don't ruin today worrying about tomorrow. Emotions like anger have value. Sometimes we need to howl. A personal story illustrates how even painful events can be formative. As a teen, the writer accidentally set her leg on fire but refused to go to the hospital due to awkwardness. The agonizing night shaped her in valuable ways. Every searing experience leaves marks, but we make peace with imperfections with time. Scars show what we've endured, and life goes on. Overall, the essays focus on living purposefully and finding meaning during good times and bad. The passage discusses virtue and humanity's imperfections. It argues that true virtue comes from looking inward at our flaws, not by pointing outward at others. Virtue is a journey, not a destination. It discusses how perfection is impossible and unrealistic. It is better to accept ourselves and the world as we are, asymmetric squares and wonky trees, rather than chase an unobtainable ideal. It argues that we are more than our worst behaviors. We must show kindness and see people, including ourselves, as more than just good or bad. It discusses finding warmth, comfort and life in the world and people around us, rather than chasing what is cool. It reflects on our existence's improbability and human survival's resilience. We exist against immense odds, like a dream made real. It repeats, nothing is stronger than a small hope that doesn't give up. It argues for embracing weirdness, eccentricity and unconventional thinking. These parts of ourselves prevent us from becoming a cover version of who we are. It contrasts the comfort of being an insider versus the freedom of being an outsider. It shares a realization that not fitting in was not wanting to fit in. It tells the story of Beethoven overcoming despair through his passion for art and music. It argues that curiosity, passion and immersion in the outside world can console us and give us purpose. Our desires can be as large as our fears. It shares a quote from Joy Harjo about how we all have a gift or job to share with the world. Nelly Bly was a pioneering American journalist born in 1864. She took on the pen name Nelly Bly and began working as a journalist when it was scarce for women. She was initially only allowed to write about domestic topics but gained more freedom over time. In 1887, she moved to New York and convinced Joseph Pulitzer to hire her at the New York World newspaper. For her first assignment, she went undercover at the notorious Blackwell's Island Asylum for women to expose the appalling conditions there. She pretended to be insane to get committed, then dropped the act once inside. She witnessed horrific conditions at the asylum, including cruelty, neglect, overcrowding, and the unjust confinement of sane women. Her exposé led to reforms and improved funding. Her recommendations were adopted and the asylum eventually closed. Nelly Bly became famous for her daring undercover journalism. She went on to report on many impactful stories, covering government corruption, poverty, and more. In 1889, she circumnavigated the globe in 72 days. Beating the fictional record in Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 days. She met Verne in Paris during her trip. Her journey brought her international fame and further demonstrated her adventurous spirit. Nelly Bly was a pioneering journalist who helped change attitudes about women in the profession. Through her investigative work, she exposed injustice and improved lives. Her bold and compassionate reporting style made her an inspiration. Though her life was cut short at 57, her impact lives on. The key themes are Nelly Bly's courage, commitment to social justice, and desire to provide a voice for the voiceless. Though facing many obstacles, she overcame them through perseverance and proving her worth. She embodied the idea of applied energy, using one's skills, passion, and hard work to create positive change. Her life serves as an inspiration and reminder of the power of compassion and moral courage. Here's a summary. Nelly Bly was a pioneering female journalist known for her record-breaking trip worldwide in 72 days. She appreciated beauty and adventure. She resisted society's expectations for women and became who she wanted to be. We are all messy and imperfect in our ways. We should accept ourselves instead of trying to shut parts of ourselves away. We should aim to be authentic to who we are. What others think of you is out of your control. Don't drain yourself trying to please everyone. Take care of yourself and be kind to yourself. Rather than conformity, be yourself. Fit in if you want, but never at the cost of your identity. Be like a pomegranate, unique and unapologetic. To appreciate life's beauty and cope with fear of death, focus on the present moment. Look at the stars and realize your connection to something greater. The universe is constantly changing. How we think about the world shapes our experience of it. Like the Stoics, we can find meaning by connecting to something bigger than ourselves. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus overcame immense hardship, including slavery and disability, by focusing on what he could control, his perspective and reactions. Our circumstances don't determine our happiness, our views of those circumstances do. We can choose inner peace regardless of external events. In summary, the message is about accepting yourself, finding meaning through connection to something greater, focusing on what you can control, and choosing to be at peace despite life's difficulties or society's expectations. The insights come from the examples of Nelly Bly, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and others. Epictetus teaches us that we cannot control external events but we can control our responses to them. By accepting what we cannot control, we gain inner peace. Caterpillars undergo a metamorphosis in the cocoon that involves disintegrating and reassembling into butterflies. This metaphor explains how we can undergo difficult experiences that transform us. We are not defined by what happens to us or what we experience. Just as a hurricane is separate from the sky, our experiences are transient while our true essence remains. Conscious breathing is a simple but powerful way to reduce stress and anxiety, as our breath reflects our emotional state. Taking deep, slow breaths can help shift us into a state of relaxation and being. We are enough as we are. We do not need to earn love or prove our worth. We need to accept ourselves. Hope is powerful, tiny hope that persists against challenges. We must face ourselves and the world with honesty and courage, not ignorance, to heal. This means accepting painful truths. Feelings of loneliness stem from being disconnected from our true selves, not from a lack of company. Understanding ourselves is the cure. We easily fall into patterns of behavior, thought, and routine which can become stagnating discomfort zones. Changing our patterns and stepping out of our comfort zone leads to growth. We only sometimes need to be productive or accomplish goals. Sometimes simply being and surviving is enough. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is about Cameron, Ferris's best friend, and his journey to overcome his fears and gain confidence. The movie suggests we should not miss out on life's opportunities due to anxiety. The protagonist undergoes a significant transition in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. At the start, Ferris is a depressed, possibly suicidal teenager who worries about the meaninglessness of the future, including college and adulthood. By the film's end, Ferris has gained self-esteem and learns to live in the present. He can also stand up to his strict father and oppressive rules. The message Ferris tries to teach his friend Cameron throughout the film is to stop and appreciate life as it's happening. Ferris represents a mix of Eastern philosophy, like mindfulness and American individualism. He believes people shouldn't adhere strictly to any particular ideology but should believe in themselves. While Ferris is out for himself, he also tries to help Cameron. The film gives the audience permission to feel and allows them to live better lives. Some films are comforting because they help us face our fears. Jaws. They feature beloved songs and nostalgia. Meet Me in St. Louis. They show characters overcoming difficult situations. The Great Escape. They capture joyful moments and invite escapism. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. E.T. It's a Wonderful Life. They highlight friendship and redemption. The Peanut Butter Falcon. Stand By Me. They provide adventure and swashbuckling fun. The Count of Monte Cristo. They feature inspiring stories and music. Ray. The Sound of Music. They spark wonder and magic. My Neighbor Totoro. They star beloved actors like James Stewart and Tom Cruise. Harvey. Mission Impossible. They highlight youth, family, and overcoming darkness. Mary Poppins. Toy Story 2. Negative capability refers to being comfortable with uncertainty and ambiguity rather than constantly seeking facts and reason. The poet John Keats believes Shakespeare embodied this quality in his work. Negative capability invites vulnerability and openness to new ideas. It relates to concepts like enlightenment in Zen Buddhism. Some critical ideas around vulnerability, openness, and life. You don't have to handle everything or keep control. You can feel what you feel. We have more in common with others than we often realize. We share hopes, fears, vulnerabilities, and the capacity to make mistakes. Forgiving others helps you forgive yourself. Introversion is not something that needs to be fixed. It's essential to make space for inward reflection. Rest and stillness are essential parts of life, not signs of unproductivity. Absorbing life's moments can be meaningful. Mystery and uncertainty are innate parts of existence. We don't need to know everything, and that's okay. Uncertainty feeds anxiety, so learning to tolerate it leads to comfort. We often feel anxious and uncertain in the modern world and want to escape it by distracting ourselves or staying indoors. But the only way to honestly deal with uncertainty is to accept it. Uncertainty can be a source of hope, not just fear. Bad things are often not as terrible as we imagine, and good things are often not as great as we hope. The most challenging experiences in life often teach us the most. There are silver linings even in the darkest moments. Life has no actual resolution or closure. Everything remains open and uncertain. We should find comfort in this openness rather than seeking unrealistic closure. Anxiety is often a symptom of disconnection from our natural selves and world. Reconnecting to nature, loved ones, physical activity, and biological rhythms can help soothe anxiety. The desire to avoid pain led to even more significant pain. Acceptance of life's uncertainty and suffering is the only way out. Joy and pain are connected. We can't have one without another. While everything is uncertain, everything remains possible. We can find comfort in hope and ambiguity. The world spins on, and we cannot predict how things will turn out. Our identity is more profound than external measures of success or what others think of us. We are expressions of life itself, connected to something greater. Even when we stumble, we can always reconnect to this deeper essence. Numbers are addictive but can make us feel like we always need or want more. But we are more than numbers, measures, and comparisons. We are alive. The key themes are accepting uncertainty, finding comfort in openness and hope, reconnecting to life, and realizing our deeper identity beyond external measures. Overall, the passages convey a message of resilience in the face of life's difficulties. The summary focuses on several key themes. Numbers and measurements can limit us by comparing ourselves to others in finite ways. Life is infinite, but we must rely more on numbers and metrics to maintain sight of that. Acceptance is vital to growth and overcoming difficulties. We need to accept our feelings, even negative ones, to move through them. Fighting or avoiding emotions only makes them stronger. Buying them, even leaning into them, is paradoxically how we overcome them. Opposites rely on each other and are connected. We can't understand joy without knowing sorrow. Fear and courage coexist. Love and despair are intertwined. When we see these connections, we gain strength and wisdom. The present moment contains infinite possibilities. We never know what's behind each door we open to the future. While the unknown can be frightening, it also has hope and opportunity. We should appreciate each moment as a messy miracle. Self-acceptance and self-compassion are more critical than self-improvement. We need to accept ourselves as we are instead of always trying to become better or escape the present. Basic noun is taking the present moment as it is, leads to peace. Compassion for all beings, not just ourselves, helps us connect to the unity of life and overcome suffering. We can become an ocean by extending compassion outward in ever-widening circles. In summary, the point of the theme is to live more open, connected, and compassionate, accepting life as it is, finding meaning in opposites, focusing on possibility, and extending compassion beyond ourselves. This leads to wisdom, strength, and a connection to something greater than ourselves. Everything in life is interconnected and cyclical. Good times follow bad times, and vice versa. We contain multitudes within us, including both positive and negative emotions and traits. We can grow and tap into inner strength, warmth, compassion, and resilience, even in difficult times. The world and ourselves can surprise us with this capacity for growth and change. Nothing truly ends, it just changes form. This cycle of change and transformation is eternal, both in the world and within us. Examples of this change and adaptation are given, for example, fire into ash into the earth, sadness into joy, day into night, etc. Gratitude is expressed to various people involved in producing and supporting the work, including the author's agent, editor, publisher, booksellers, social media supporters, and readers. Permission to reprint excerpts of copyrighted works by other authors is gratefully acknowledged. The sources for these excerpts are provided. The key ideas are interconnectedness, cyclical change and transformation, inner strength and growth, and gratitude. The tone is reflective and inspirational. Book link, click here.